Hi, Eva.
Hi, Albert.
My name is Albert. And why Couchsurfing?
Well, I am a couchsurfer, both like hosting and traveling.
Yeah.
And when you are traveling and you are in other country, and especially if you are traveling alone, not with friends, but going alone to other country, then you are alone in the country, maybe for the first time, the country and culture that you don't know. And then it's good to have like friends, and even better if they are like local. And couchsurfing is like kind of a way. If you stay with locals, then it's like you are staying with friends. Maybe not always you have this connection, but in general, yeah, it's like staying with friends. And when I am hosting, it's also like if I am being hosted, then I feel like I want to give the same back. Maybe it's not the same person, but to somebody I can give back what I have received. Mm-hmm. So the energy is going both ways.
Yeah.
And that is could be one reason, but of course it's also nice to receive somebody at your place. And then maybe sometimes I'm bored, and then I like open my doors for couchsurfing, and we go out together. Or just it's also like getting out of your comfort zone and opening up yourself. So it's kind of you get to know yourself sometimes even in new shapes.
Yeah, many people who are not in couchsurfing asking the question about them. Why do you do this? Of course, you a bit answer for that question, but why do you do couchsurfing? What do you get back for this? And some people ask, what you get in like when you're hosting someone, what do you get back for this?
Well, you get the conversation, you get company. Like I say, sometimes maybe I don't have specific plans, let's say for weekend or specific day, and then I'm hosting somebody and I'm suggesting if the person of course wants, we can go out or do something together as well. But when you are traveling, I think there is no question what you get, because you get like much more than staying in a hotel.
What is the difference, for example, to stay in hotel or in Airbnb or then in staying in couchsurfing? Because some people think that, of course, like what are the differences as for you when you are staying in the hotel? I would say
if you stay in a hotel, there is one guy or girl in the reception, and you can ask them all your questions, and most of the, whether it's you or somebody else, will get the same answers. So it's like kind of programmed already. Yeah. But when you are staying with somebody, you never know what you can expect from that person, how it will be the place, and then you have to be like more open. Maybe you won't go out, but maybe they will invite you. I don't know, like for me, I have been invited to the wedding, or the
when
host.
You was on, like when you was couchsurfing.
When I was traveling.
And you was invited for the wedding.
Or, for example, the hosts prepared the face masks, and we did it together with the hosts, putting all of us the face mask and making pictures. So it's like kind of fun. This would not happen with you if you stay in a hotel. Well, hotel reception definitely will not most probably offer you something like that.
So actually with the couchsurfing you feel the real country, yes? The real traditions, the real people that are in. So probably in the hotel they are like artificial. They need to be like a tourist, and they try to be on the same wave, like if you go for Asian, like...
Yeah, especially, because in Europe, of course, the people live in good conditions, they have new apartments if you're staying for couchsurfing, and same in a hotel, everything is nice and beautiful. But if you go like to some Asian countries, which are considered like kind of poor, and then you stay in a hotel, you see this country like from perspective of staying in a beautiful hotel, having been served everywhere, and everything is like a little Europe just in Asia. But if you stay with locals, then this beautiful and neat image is, I mean,
disappears.
Disappears. It's like becoming like you will see the real, like how it is, without this kind of mask.
Actually, give me an idea about like president of all countries. They always in a type of a tunnel that they never see how the real people live. Yes, like how people in the subway, how people in the in different places. So they actually in some type of shell. So and as well when you're in a hotel, maybe when you're going outside, even when you're going outside, you're going with the guides. So they show you already touristic places. And to feel it better, it's recommended to be with the locals. Yes, to feel it.
And then they maybe they are not taking to these traditional touristic places. You can go there anyway by yourself, but they are taking somewhere where you would never end up if you would be staying in a hotel or traveling alone.
And what was your amazing or interesting story about couchsurfing?
When I was in Peru, I was staying with a couchsurfer, and he took me to the wedding. And after the wedding, we were staying at his family members' house. They were like living like 3 or 4 people in that house, and in that area the earthquakes are very common. So like a year or 2 years ago, that house was kind of
demolished.
Kind of demolished. So it was a little bit in the ruins, the house, but they were still living there because the climate is warm and everything. So maybe in some parts the roof was missing, and there was a wall missing, and there was a blanket. But the people, they were very hospitable and nice. And then in this kind of moments, you start to appreciate what you have. So,
because you saw like how real people and how the normal, like we would say, middle class of Peru is living. It is very different in comparison to middle class here in Europe.
Yeah, of course, because they were not poor. They were like normal people. Just there was this earthquake, and their house got demolished, and they didn't have probably at that moment this amount of money to repair it, because it takes time. But for them, I think it wasn't like big deal, because the climate is okay, and there's a hole in the roof, so it's not a big thing.
What type of interesting people that you would never meet, for example?
It was first time he was staying at the Couchsurfing, but before he has been hosting people. But first time he stayed himself. So he stayed 2 nights, I think. And he was very tall, and my sofa is like 1.40 meters long, and he was like a little bit below 2 meters, like very tall guy, but he slept there, and I think he slept very good because he was also snoring, so I think it was good for him. Yeah, and afterwards even we are still keeping in touch.
He could stay in a hotel very easily.
Yeah, he could. Later he wanted to stay longer because he sent the request only for 2 nights, I think, but then he thought that he will stay longer, and he stayed with Airbnb, but we went together out a couple of nights just for dinner. But he wanted to have this experience, how it is, because he had hosted many people, but he never stayed himself. So he wanted to have the experience, and he was very happy to have it. So it's nice. There is no age limit.
How do you think about, is it safe to do, because you've been hosted and you've been couchsurfing already more than 10 years, yes? And for that 10 years, did you experience something that was threatened, or something like was stolen from your house, or when you've been traveling something happened?
With the people that are staying in my house, usually it's a good experience, because I am quite like I don't accept everyone. I'm like choosing, reading the references and checking the profile.
So it's important to check the reference all the time.
Yeah, and it's important to fill up the profile. I have even said to one person who sent me a request. He was like signed up just recently, and he didn't fill up much profile. So I said, "Can you please fill up the profile?" And then we'll see. And then he filled up, and then afterwards he said, "Okay, can you host me now?" And then I hosted, and at the end it was very nice experience. So I think the profile should be filled up, because the people who are hosting, they read, and then they see more or less they can imagine will you have a good contact or not. And when traveling, I'm also like reading references and checking the profile.
Do you plan to continue Couchsurfing, and do you recommend to other people to join Couchsurfing?
Yes, I plan to continue, and I'm also sharing like my experience with Couchsurfing with my friends, and then I'm like, if I travel with some of friends who are not with Couchsurfing and they travel with me, they also can have some Couchsurfing experience, and so far they have liked it. And yeah, sign up for Couchsurfing.
Yeah. We also didn't mention about the good vibes, yeah? But you talked about it at the beginning, that most of the Couchsurfers who already for a couple of years, they give a good vibe to the people around. So this is type of a community that like to travel, like to give good positive energy, and mostly who are already experienced, they don't have so much, they are not like bad people, I would say.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you are in a Couchsurfing, you already have something in common with the other people there. You are open-minded, and you are open to challenge yourself or get out of the comfort box, and you like traveling. So most of the people who are there is already one thing in common.
Thank you very much. It was very nice to be with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.